Good morning. Today is Friday, August 4th, 2023. This is Bender, and there's nobody else here today. So you just have me. HellsBells is off doing whatever he's doing, traveling, and Stonkington is on vacation. So I'm flying solo. So I'll just make up words that I think they might say, and they're just going to have to deal with it. So I think this morning, HellsBells would probably give some grumblings, complain about something, maybe say some bad words about Fitch that really don't matter, and probably talk about employment numbers. So we're waiting on employment numbers this morning. They did come out. Best I can tell is that unemployment rate came in lower, but hourly earnings rose. And I think that investors were probably looking for slowed growth in hourly earnings to signal that the Federal Reserve, it would be a signal that previous interest rate hikes have had their intended effects. But by and large, as far as the unemployment rate dropping, that's good. Would have liked to see those hourly earnings come in soft, but I don't think that's going to hurt us. All in all, I think it's okay. So we'll see, kind of how that plays out. I don't have a whole lot. I don't know what else he would talk about again besides complaining and some random grumbling. I'll try to think of something along the way, that throw in a comment or two that might be a HellsBells comment. But for now, let's get into the chart. So we're going to start with ES on the daily here. And what I want to draw your attention to is this yellow dotted line here being the midpoint of this parallel channel. Yesterday we traded down right to the bottom of it, and you can see that trend line down there. Traded right to the bottom of it, and then back up into the midpoint. The other thing that you'll notice here on the daily is that we have this volume imbalance right in here. So we look for a candle, the body of a candle, to lay over that volume imbalance. We also have relative equal highs up here. And when I zoom in, you'll see that we were just shy of this previous high, which actually is not a bad thing. It means there's still liquidity out there at that level. So let's zoom in. We'll go to a 60-minute here. This doesn't have me all that excited because this blue box represents the Asia session. And what you will notice is that the London session took out the Asia session high and the Asia session low, which can set us up for a search and destroy type of day. Hopefully we don't get that. And what we need to see, again, here's your relative equal highs, and you see this candle came just short of this previous high, right? So that liquidity is still resting out there. And what we'd need to see is a break above that, and for that to hold, and then we'd look to fill in this 60-minute fair value gap here if we're looking to the upside. But we need to see a break above those relative equal highs. We don't want to see it wick and come back down, and that becomes resistance unless you're looking for an opportunity to short. If you're bearish and you think that, based on the data that we should be going lower, based on the charts, we should be going lower, then you're looking for a pop just above that as an opportunity to short. And honestly, for myself, I might consider that. And knowing that if that next candle comes in green, it's like, all right, I'm probably going to get out because it'll probably fill in this 60-minute fair value gap. Above that, if I go to the regular trading hours here, you can see, drag this candle here, right to that candle. You've got this gap right in here, regular trading hours gap. Starts at 45.70.25. So if we start moving up, we get above those relative equal highs, we push through that 60-minute fair value gap, then we look to get into this regular trading hours gap and fill some of that in. As far as what we have below, let's go back to the 15-minute or to the 15-minute, back to electronic trading hours. We already talked about the Asia session high and low. We're also hovering right about the 50% level of the bigger out here. Right here. So this 50% retracement right here is from this candle's low to this high right up here. So this most recent up move, right? The pullback is between 50%, 61.8%. So there's your fibs right there. That's where those come from. So we're kind of in that golden ratio area where if longs were looking for a pullback off this move, this is kind of that area where they'd come in, right? So going back to the 15-minute, now you know where those two levels are coming from. So back below 45.23, if we get back below that, then we look for this candle's low, 45.14.25. Yesterday's low, which was 45.05.75. And then you got the 618 down there, 44.96 half. And the bottom of a weekly fair value gap is right here, 44.93.75. This big yellow shaded box being an actual, that's another actual gap. Going back to the regular trading hours, you can see that gap right in here. Right. So for me, the sort of long story short is that if we find ourselves back down here underneath this candle's low at 45.17 half, then we target yesterday's low and we're into this gap, right? Head on a swivel right around that 44.96 half level. Most likely we get down there, we're probably going to see a bounce in here. And then we look for a break below that weekly fair value gap bottom or below the 618 to attack the bottom of the actual gap that's in here down to 44.79. That's kind of what I'm looking for right there. I'll flip over to the Bitcoin chart here just to kind of quick update. Fibs I have on that most recent impulse move, low to high, pullback currently sitting right, bodies of these candles right at that 382. And this blue shaded box kind of being the buy zone. If it were to come down to that 50% level, 28.306.20, with the possibility that it pulls down to the 618, which is 27.464.32. What we don't want to see, if you're bullish Bitcoin, you don't want to see a break below that 618, and that becomes resistance. If that were to happen, it would not surprise me to retrace at least to the bottom of this daily fair value gap right here, down to 27.045.58. And then you can see below that takes you potentially 26.195, 26.184, kind of right in there. For upside, you can see this daily fair value gap that's holding as resistance, 29,718.24. So I'd want to see it get above that candle's high, which is 30,085, kind of right in there. We want to see it get above that candle's high, and that becomes support. And then we can start targeting some of this stuff higher up. Also worth noting, this red line up here, everyone's kind of, few people I've talked to, not just a few, quite a few, trying to figure out why 32,000 is so significant, and why that's such a pain in the ass. For those of you that don't know, here's why it's such a pain in the ass. Here's the fibs. It's a weekly chart going from this little swing high here down to the lows. The retracement, the 50% retracement, is 31,953. Right, so that's why that's such a pain in the ass. To really get the momentum going to the upside, and you know, those of you that are sitting there going, when's Bitcoin going back to 40K or 50K or something like that? To really get that move going, right, we need to get above that 50% retracement, target the 618. We need to get above that, which is, I'd say right around that 36,000 level. Get above that, and then it can really start to push. Until that happens, we're consolidating, right? Again, on the weekly, if you look at this move from these lows to this high, pulls back to the 50% level, and then runs to the 1618 extension. That's textbook right there. So that's where we're at with Bitcoin. I'll be continuing to watch the crypto names, Mara, Riot, SDIG, some of those names. If Bitcoin starts to pump, those can be fun names to play. Let's see, Coin did report last night. What's Coin doing this morning? Let's take a look. Because they reported decent. It's down. It did pump after hours last night, but it looks like it has given up all of its gains and then some. So I'd be watching Coin in here. It's filling in, has filled in this 1 hour fair value gap just about to the bottom. I guess it's got a little bit lower. It can fall another $2 or so, but I'd want to see it hold that. If it breaks 83.50, if it breaks that candle, you can see there's some room down here for it to fill in. I don't have fibs on this chart yet, but I can add them very quickly. Kind of get a sense of where that 50% pullback level is. Oh, look, there's the 382 right there, 88.30. Your 50% retracement right around the $80 level. So let's keep an eye on that. Other earnings, obviously we had AWS or Amazon report yesterday after the bell. They beat top and bottom, guided higher. Good earnings all the way around. I mean, they crushed it. The only thing of note that was not positive that I saw was that they did reveal that web services revenue did slow due to losing market share to Microsoft and Google. On the other side, Apple reported, and it was not great. iPhone sales below expectations. Revs fell 1.4% versus last year. Mac, wearables, iPad sales also missed expectations. There is good news for you Apple fanboys. They announced a new iPhone 12, but they're calling it the iPhone 15. So they did announce that. Good news for you guys. You get the same exact phone in a shinier package, and you get to pay more if you really want that. Although it almost kind of seems like people are starting to catch on because these sales are slowing a little bit. Earnings today, CBOE, Telus Corp, ticker TU, Dominion Energy, Enbridge, Magma International, which is MGA. What else I got here? Let's see. Baba was higher yesterday after reporting or reports of them launching two open source AI models to rival Meta. Cigna traded lower after reporting an increase in Q2 medical cost ration. I'm not exactly sure what that means, to be honest. And everybody's favorite Tup, the Tupperware, they traded higher after news of debt restructuring. As far as dark pools go, Roblox yesterday, 7% average 30-day volume at $37.63. That was $24 million transactions. So throw that line on your chart if you trade the Roblox. SPXS, 10.6% at $13.69. That was $28 million. Might not be a bad idea to watch the SPXS today. SPXS. And one of my favorites, CXM, had a really large dark pool yesterday. That one was 49.44% average 30-day volume, 12.6 million at 1374. I am in this name, have been for a while. I will be watching to kind of see what they do with it off that 1374 level. I have my concerns about the short term. In the short term with that stock, there has been a little bit of insider selling, not a ton. There was an article that came out yesterday. I saw it on bar chart that they were listed as one of the sort of, there was 3 stocks they had listed as being AI stocks that were under the radar that you probably hadn't heard of. And CXM was the first one listed in that list of 3. Sprout was another one. I can't remember what the third one is. But it's interesting that article comes out and we get this, huge transaction come in on it. I'll also be watching PLTR trading at that $19 level here pre-market. Mentioned coin. I think that's about it as far as kind of what I'm watching today. Again, we're set up, at least set up early here for potential search and destroy type day. That is not what I was hoping for on a Friday. We should see, now that those earnings are out of the way, late today, potentially. I don't know, maybe it happens first thing in the morning. I'm not really sure. But we should start to see some hedges come off now that the data's out of the way, the earnings are out of the way. I would expect to see some of that stuff. And we'll be looking for it in the flow, right? Hopefully give us some direction as to what the rest of August brings. Historically, August is not a great month. So I'm still, looking for the possibility of us trading back down towards the lower end of this channel. I don't know that we'll get it, right? We've got the midpoint of the channel. We got this trend line so far that is held. But bigger picture is that if we break the bottom of this trend line, that may start the move down to the bottom of that parallel channel. And me personally, I would like to see that because that would give me, I think, some good entries on some stuff that I want to carry through the rest of the year. Because I think the outlook for the rest of the year, at least for now, barring any, major changes in the economy, I think the outlook is good. But I was really hoping that, we would get a nice opportunity, again, to pick up some stuff at a discount to carry through the end of the year. And to me, that would look like a move to the lower end of that parallel channel. Don't know if we get it, but if you ask me what I want, hey, Bender, if you could have it your way, what would the setup look like? What would they give you? Well, sometime in the next 2 weeks, a move to the bottom of that channel. That's what I'd want. And then I would look to pick some stuff up. I think that's about all I got. A little bit of an abbreviated show. Hells, what did you think about that? Oh, Bender, that was amazing. Fantastic. Great job. Thank you for covering me while I'm off on vacation, having a good time, and you still come into the office because you're so dedicated. Appreciate all the effort. Yeah. Enjoy your time off, Hells. Stonkington, anything to add? Bender, you're my best friend, and you're the greatest person in the world. And yeah, I really appreciate it. Hey, great job. And yeah, we'll catch you in a little bit. And then Hells would say something like 19 minutes still open, 19 minutes still open. See you soon. That's all I got. Thanks, guys. We'll see you in a bit. Oh, Sun is upset because I didn't mention Sun, but Sun, you haven't been here for a couple days. So, you know, when you're not around, you're quickly forgotten. No, I apologize. There is Sun. I think I tried to cover what I thought, you know, you might add. I tried to pull out a couple stock news related things, but you didn't send me your list, so I had to go off the cuff. But anyway, all right, guys, 18 minutes till open. See you soon.